Gold Coast Captain is the horse working up on the outside of the stablemate there, and Gold Coast Captain goes around in race 1. The horse dropping back to Class 5 level. Of course, took out 4 successive races earlier this year and is now back to Class 5 company this weekend. Coming off a last start 5th, Casey Tan will take the ride. That is Gold Coast Captain. As Saddam, this may return to some sort of form last time out when she ran 3rd to Jackpot, and that was a fortnight ago, and has won 4 races in its career, all over the 1600 metres, and she's back to her favourite journey on this occasion, going around there on Saturday, and that is Approbation, draws barrier 10, and will be contesting the Kamakura handicap there at Ipoh. That's race number 1. Now that's due home on the dirt there on Tuesday morning, and will be ridden by CK Tan. Has to overcome the wide barrier there in race number 2 there, due home, but has been in consistent form over the last couple of months. Did take out a race at Ipoh 2 runs ago. That was over 1400 metres. That was back on the 7th of October. Last start was placed 3rd a week later. That is due home. And this is Jetstar Eagle, who also goes around in race 2. And Jetstar Eagle, coming off some reasonable form, was a winner at Ipoh back in July. It's only had the 2 victories from 41 starts overall. The Jetstar Eagle looked quite sharp there on the sand. And Jetstar Eagle will be ridden by AK Lim, and draws barrier 6. Looks a very good chance there in race number 2 on Saturday. That is Jetstar Eagle. Empire Bay will be going around in race number 3. That is the Nico handicap, and will be ridden by the apprentice Casey Tan. And Empire Bay hasn't been far away in recent starts, coming off a last start 4th at Penang. That was 2 weeks ago, and has won 3 times at 1400 metres. That is Empire Bay, who looks to be one of the chances there in race number 3, and draws barrier number 7. That's Empire Bay. Second Chance has only had the 5 race starts to date, but was placed here back in September, and that was in a Class 5 race over 1200 metres. Steps up to 1400 metres for the second time there on Saturday, and Second Chance will be ridden by Lu Ho. Has drawn barrier number 5 from the yard of Stephen Cook. Coming off a last start 5th in an open maiden, and wasn't far away in a race at Penang prior to that. That is the Chestnut Performer, Second Chance. Now this is Whirlwind, who is nearing a victory, coming off 2 seconds in a row. The most recent when backed into favourite at KL. That was over 1200 metres back on the 29th of October. Did win a race here in August over this same journey when he took out an initiation that day, Whirlwind. He's racing in very good form, the 4-year-old campaigner. Peter Lee, the trainer. WK Yarn will take the ride and draws barrier number 5. Goes around in the Sapporo handicap. That is race 4, and that is Whirlwind. Now let's have a look at Poor Sense, who's working up on the outside of stablemate there, Flying Amiga. Poor Sense is first up since July, goes around in race 4, and Casey Wong will take the ride on Poor Sense. Had very good form when last in work, including successive wins there back in May and June of this year. That is Poor Sense. He's coming up for start number 10 and has had 2 wins and 3 placings in his career so far. And carrying the number 55 saddlecloth is Supreme Star. TM1 will take the ride on this horse in the Sapporo handicap. And this horse has been around the mark, broke its maiden tag back in July, and is coming off a last start 5th, beaten 4 lengths in Class 4 company. Can measure up to the grade, the Supreme Star, and has drawn barrier number 7, goes around in race 4, Supreme Star. Now let's have a look at Black and White. He's working up on the outside of stablemate there, which is Purple Rain Lady. Black and White has been freshened up since his last start performance back on the 3rd of September, where he was successful over 1,400 metres at Ipoh. First up over 1,200, he draws a wide gate and comes out of barrier 12. Z Carril takes the ride. That is Black and White. He has won 15 races in his career from 56 starts overall. That's Black and White. This is the recent Group 1 Piala Emus winner, and that is True Sun. He is also coming off a last start win there in KL over 1,800 metres. Of course, he's a versatile type. This guy, 11 wins from 38 starts overall, and dropping back from the 1,800 metres back to the 1,200 in the Tokyo Stakes race number 5 there on Saturday. True Sun will once again be ridden by Furman Yap. He draws gate number 11. And that is True Sun from the yard of Stephen Cook. Now, Sister-in-Law also goes around in the Tokyo Stakes. Sister-in-Law, she has had 3 runs this preparation. She ran 3rd first up back in September. Her last 2 efforts have been below standard for her, and she was well beaten her last 2 starts, Sister-in-Law, so look for improvement. Has had a slight freshen up, hasn't had a start for 28 days, and will be ridden by A.K. Lim. That is Sister-in-Law, and she draws barrier 6. And now from the yard of KL Chong, we have Bold Passion working up on the outside of the other 3-year-old filly, Auspicious Star. Bold Passion's only had the 1 start and was unplaced back in August. His first up this weekend, and Auspicious Star has had the 7 starts for 3 placings, is coming off a last start 5th in KL 3 weeks ago. Both runners are engaged in the 6th race on the program. That is the Restricted Maiden, and that is Bold Passion working up on the outside of Auspicious Star. Now this is La Quinta working up on the sand on Tuesday, and La Quinta is coming off an unplaced effort at Ipoh back on the 15th of October. Took out a Class 5 race back in April, has won 3 races in its career from 19 starts, has won in Class 4 company before, earlier on in its career, has won twice over the journey, and La Quinta will be ridden by Casey Tam. Draws gate number 11. In the Kyoto Handicap, that is race 7, that is La Quinta. Good Taste is coming off a recent victory there in Class 5 company. That was back in October. Stepped up to Class 4 last start. 6 days later was unplaced and was well beaten on that occasion. Has had the 4 runs at Class 4 company before without a placing, but looks a very good chance in the Class 4 event this weekend in Ipoh. And it goes around in race number 7, the Kyoto Handicap, and Good Taste will be ridden by HS Skill and draws barrier number 5. Good Taste has won 4 races in a 25 start career. Now, Get the Lotsky will be resuming for its new owners there on Saturday. Get the Lotsky draws barrier 1. TM1 will take the ride in race number 7. Get the Lotsky hasn't had a start since the 5th of August, has previously placed first up there, Get the Lotsky. Overall, has had the 35 starts for the 4 wins, has been placed on 4 occasions over 1,200 metres. That is Get the Lotsky. Now this is Magical 10, and the mare goes around in race 7, has to overcome the wide barrier draw. Comes out of 14. Casey Wong will take the ride on the mare. Now at 7 years of age, she was placed in Class 4 company last start behind Quanton Hill, has been freshened up for Saturday's outing. That is Magical 10, carries the 65 saddlecloth number there. Tong Chiaching goes around in the Kawasaki Handicap race number 9. This horse racing in very good form, coming off a win 2 runs ago. That was back on the 8th of October. Followed that up with a 4th over 1,200 metres. Steps back to 1,000 metres this weekend. Does look a very good chance, a very speedy beginner, the 7-year-old mare. She's won 5 from 62 overall, and S. Sadan takes the ride on Tong Chiaching, who draws barrier 5. Uncle Glory looks to be a winning chance in race 9 as well. Uncle Glory, pretty quick beginner this guy, and normally races on the speed, coming off that last start 4th in soft going at Penang a fortnight ago. Back to the 1,000 metres, Uncle Glory. He should be in the firing line for a long way. Will be ridden by Calvin Goon, well drawn there in barrier 2. That is Uncle Glory, goes around in the Kawasaki Handicap. Now, Golden Empire will be first up since the 5th of August. The horse still a maiden after 15 race starts, placed on 5 occasions, including its last start when it finished in 3rd position there in an open maiden over 1,200 metres. Will be first up for the new stable. Now in the Evert van Broekelen, Yardem Sathia will take the ride on Golden Empire. Draws barrier 7 in the Kawasaki Handicap. That is Golden Empire. Now this is the 9-year-old campaigner Joyful. He's coming off a last start placing here at Ipoh. That was back on the 15th of October when he ran 3rd. He's won 9 races overall from 74 starts. He has won over 1,400 metres previously, and that is Joyful. Goes around in the last race number 10, the Osaka Handicap, and it will be ridden by Casey Tam. Well drawn in barrier 2. That is Joyful. Now this is Da Vinci. Da Vinci's had the 4 runs here in Malaysia, was placed here 2 runs ago. That was over 1,400 metres. Stepped up to the mile last time out when was unplaced here back on the 15th of October. Overall, the horse has had 30 starts for 4 wins in Singapore prior to coming across to the Kevin Coatsey camp. Da Vinci will be ridden by HS Skill. Draws gate number 11, goes around in the Osaka Handicap. That is Da Vinci.